Yeah, no. Unfortunately, we are not doing the cinematic audio into the clip again, because this time the statistics are too long to contain in the 4 or so minutes before we would get into the clip. So instead, the run will be shown now, and the statistics will come afterwards. Sounds good? Good. Let's get into this finale celebration, starting with... I didn't know what to expect coming into this level, as while I saved the easier sapphires for the end of the grind, this level was an exception and would always be the last level in the series. The first run, which finally put an end to this grind, only took me about an hour, but it had a devastating miss that put a sour note to the end. I then came back the next day and got a much better run, also in a similar amount of time. It's still not perfect, but with the length this long, I don't expect any of my runs to be. Once again, I would like to go through each section one by one and discuss my individual thoughts on them. I've gotten pretty good at the start, but it still often trips me up, especially if I don't get the first 3 crystals instantly. It isn't that necessary for a good time, but is easily resettable if you don't like your time. The first shale part is also good, directly coming from how much better I've gotten at Book of Life levels. While the first few roofs are a little awkward to get down, the back half of the section flows really well and makes me feel like I can chase top times with these types of levels. The first conga line still trips me up constantly, as after the first 4 crystals, I find it hard to find the last 2 crystals to end this section quickly. I tried looking towards green instead of away from him, and while it worked out with this run, I still haven't gotten the hang of it when I tried going for an even faster run than this. The second shale part is obviously the weakest part of the run, but was still serviceable enough to continue. I tried going for better boosts with the ringer, and found that getting those boosts were a lot harder than I initially thought, and didn't get one here. The other way to save time here is by breaking the crystals early, and the missed crystal really hurt me, as I couldn't grapple down to the hand without missing it. The second conga line is about as annoying as the first, as once again, getting to the first 4 crystals is really easy, and clicking over to the last 2 is where the real difficulty of the part lies. I somehow also got this part done really quickly, and try to remain calm as I enter the last sections. The third shale part doesn't have many time save opportunities and has a high chance of ending a run, which is always wonderful to hear. After looking at other sapphire runs, I switched my strategy to the one shown, instead of trying to hit 2 crystals with the Godspeed. The Dominion shots are just as annoying and dreadful, but I managed to hit both. Finally, I've gotten much better at the Cyclic Coyote and didn't have any issues with it as I entered the last section at a good enough pace. The finale is very easily chokeable, considering the fact that I flat out missed the first discard. The pattern you use for the crystals is dependent on what you first learned, since my pattern isn't the fastest and gives plenty of opportunities to miss crystals and bleed time. And finally, I didn't bother going for a quick kill, ending the run with a respectable time. Ultimately, I feel like I got pretty lucky with this run, but the few things that did go wrong bothered me to the point where I still want to improve this run, and almost did before giving up and accepting this time for now. It's a good level, and a part of me wishes that I would stop waiting until the very end of milestones to play it, but that's just me, and what I do for these videos. Now it's time for the statistics. And this time, I will also commentate while they're playing. Because of this, I'm going to do something I've been thinking of doing for a bit now. The subtitles have now moved from on the screen to embedded in the video. If you want, you can now view these stats on their own without also having to read my dialogue as well. So with that, let's take one last look down memory lane. Sapphire Grind began immediately after the last Amethyst video was posted, well over a year ago. If you want to count starting from my first Sapphire, that would also include almost my entire Amethyst grind as well. This has taken considerably longer than getting every Amethyst, and that's taking into consideration how much longer the Amethyst grind was pushed by making these videos. Even without them, I believe the Sapphire grind would have taken roughly the same amount of time, as I was building my collection and skill while making the videos, rather than waiting until the end to do so. Another way of seeing how long this took is by looking at my in-game hours, removing things like breaks and video creation time. Fortunately, I recorded my hours at the start of the grind and used the clip at the start of every video. I cannot compare this to the Amethyst grind because I did not record that. I am the 28th person to get the full Sapphire sweep. This is a showcase of everyone who has gotten it before me, including those who had it at one point and have now lost it due to metal buffs. Compared to the full Amethyst sweep, I got it one person later, but I don't really care that much about order, since it reflects when people join the community rather than each player's individual skill. The dates that each person got the sweep were once again obtained through Discord messages, so they may not be the exact date a person actually obtained all the Sapphires, but rather when they decided to post it as an accomplishment. However, I am fairly confident that these are accurate, because getting the full Sapphire sweep is a big accomplishment, and like me, would want to post their achievement as soon as they got it. I am also confident that I didn't miss anyone, as there are only about 50 people with a combined time less than that of the Sapphires, and I made sure to check all of them since almost all their times are public and can be found elsewhere. With no levels improved on that I covered before, the most amount of times I've improved a level is 4 times after the Sapphire. It seems that route changes, metal updates, and runs that I consider to be bad are the factors that play most into levels that I choose to improve on a lot. As for levels I haven't improved at all, it comes out to exactly half of the levels, a massive increase from the Amethyst statistic. It makes sense, though, as since I got the Sapphires while making the videos, there was less opportunity overall to improve on these levels. This statistic is not one I really care about, but can be interesting to look at. For example, the levels with the longest and shortest commentaries were not ones that I expected to be there. The more interesting side is how it compares with the Amethyst videos. The Sapphire's length was pretty consistent, about the same length as the end of the Amethyst videos. That comes from the fact that I wanted to include more commentary in my videos, as I found more things to say in general with each level that I covered. Once again, I used a script to document my commentary on these videos, and this version happened to be longer than the Amethyst videos, although it wasn't by much. That ties directly with the length of commentary, as more words means more time to speak them. We finally tallied up the final amount of levels on the list, since Absolution thankfully did not get on there. There are quite a lot of them, not even counting the 2 that got exactly 0.1 seconds off the Sapphire time. However, the main reason why I made the list at all was to see how unlucky I got during this grind. So was I? I would actually say no, for 2 reasons. The first is that 0.1 seconds is a lot of time, especially for some of these levels, and I started to feel like runs that barely made it on weren't actually unlucky. If I could do well with this list, I would change it to a percentage, probably 90% and over of the weight of the Sapphire. The second is that being unlucky implies a comparison to other people's experiences, and I don't have any data to suggest other people had fewer levels on the list. If anyone else kept data on this like me, or would like to show me, please do, but otherwise I cannot claim that I got unlucky with this grind. Comparing the orders of Sapphires versus the order of Amethyst, there is no correlation between the two, and intentionally so. Between the way I chose to get Sapphires versus Amethyst, the 1 medal per chapter per video restriction, and intentionally not correlating the two, I would say I successfully scattered around the medals between videos. Finally, with this run, I've broken the 37-minute barrier. That's why I chose to improve a large amount of levels starting from part 10, as I wanted to line up the achievements, but still had about 15 seconds to go, which was a lot of time to make up. That means that during this entire grind, from the Absolution Amethyst to the Absolution Sapphire, I saved almost exactly 2 minutes off my global time, which is a very large amount considering the distance between now and the number 1 global spot is less than that. There is only one more minute barrier that people have broken, and it is obviously the hardest one. Whether I will break it or not will remain a mystery. Here we are. We have once again reached the summit, a mountain far higher and steeper than the last. I encourage you, whether you're going for this goal, or still catching up on amethyst medals, or not even playing the game, to keep pushing so that one day you can look back and be proud of everything that you've achieved. This isn't the end for me though, far from it. As stated in previous videos, I will release an announcement video describing what I would like to do moving forwards. It should come out soon enough, if not for the fact that I would like to take a break and relish in this accomplishment for a little longer. So for now, that's all from me, and I'm glad you stuck around to watch me collect every sapphire medal in neon white. Thank you for watching.